Bargain shopping is one thing, but a house cheaper than New York rent? Some US towns still have homes under 100K. Real deeds, real keys, real neighbors. These are 17 towns where house prices are so low you'll think it's fake. Number 17, Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is one of the only places in America where you can scroll Zillow and think, wait, did I accidentally filter for sheds? But no, those are real houses. The median listing price here is about $108,000 as of August 2025, and the median sale price sits around $115,000. That's still less than what some people drop on rent in a single year. 3 bedrooms, basements, porches, you get it all for the price of a used SUV. This is Motor City on its third act. Rough around the edges, sure, but buzzing with energy in ways that keep people betting on its comeback. The reality: buying in Detroit is signing up for a project. One block might have boarded windows and weeds, the next a cafe and murals so bright you'll need shades. Crime is still part of the deal, and the potholes. Locals joke they're deep enough to start community gardens, tomatoes, herbs, maybe even a suspension repair shop. It's gritty, unpredictable, and full of raccoons that would love your attic. But if you're bold, Detroit is still one of the last big cities in America where home ownership feels possible. Number 16, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is the kind of place where every street feels like it's telling 2 different stories. One turn, you're staring up at towering brick homes that look like something out of a history book. 2 turns later, your car suspension is questioning its life choices. That's the paradox here, and why housing feels like a cheat code. The median listing price is about $195,000, with the median sale price hovering near $198,000 in 2025. The economy, not flashy, but steady. Hospitals, aerospace giants, and universities keep the lights on. The homes, pure Midwestern charm, red brick rows, stained glass tucked into windows, woodwork that creaks in all the right ways. St. Louis rewards the careful buyer. Learn your neighborhoods, do your homework, and you could end up with one of the best deals in the country, plus a plate of toasted ravioli to celebrate. Number 15, McAllen, Texas. McAllen is what happens when cheap living, palm trees, and taco trucks form a coalition. The median sale price sits around $275,000 as of August 2025, while the median listing price hovers near $315,000. That's still thousands below what buyers face in most US metros. Rent often slides under $800, and groceries are so affordable it feels like your paycheck leveled up. But let's be real, summer here doesn't get hot. It cranks into hairdryer mode. Triple-digit heat is the default. Humidity feels like it's personally taunting you, and shade turns into a survival skill. And because it's a border city, McAllen shows up in political debates far more often than residents would prefer. Everyday life, though, relaxed. Family-friendly neighborhoods, plazas, parks, and taco trucks on every block. There's an airport, plenty of hospitals, and enough retail that you don't have to drive out of town for the basics. The trade-off? Once the clock hits 10 p.m., nightlife packs it in. Your best bet for action might be the H-E-B parking lot. McAllen's pitch is simple: sunshine, affordability, and community vibes that feel old school. Just be ready to sweat for the deal. Number 14, Decatur, Illinois. Decatur is the kind of place where Zillow makes you double check the calendar. In 2025, the average home value sits around $103K, with many listings still below $130K. That's less than what some New Yorkers burn on rent in a few months. Whole house, 1 year's rent, done. The city wears its nickname proudly: soybean capital of the world. Farming and food production shape daily life, and on certain days, the air really does smell like breakfast cereal, courtesy of local plants. For locals, it's background noise. For newcomers, it's surreal, but let's not pretend it's flawless. Crime is higher than you'd like, and nightlife is limited to Friday football, bowling alleys, or a fundraiser dinner at the church. Still, if you want a mortgage small enough to laugh at, Decatur offers it with change to spare. Number 13, Enid, Oklahoma. Enid is small-town America in pure form. Zillow pegs the average home value at about $132K, while recent listings sit closer to $215K now, with median sales around $187K in 2025. For many buyers, that's still half of what you'd pay in bigger metros. Traffic here is basically a rumor. Commutes are short, and the skyline is more grain elevators than skyscrapers. The economy leans on aviation, energy, and federal jobs, steady if not glamorous. numerous, schools score well, crime is low, and parking is so easy you'll forget what parallel parking anxiety feels like. The weather, though, has personality. Winds don't just breeze, they'll push your trash can down the street for sport. But those skies, big, endless painted sunsets, make up for it. Enid's deal is simple: affordable homes, calm days, and neighbors who know your name. Number 12, Mission. Texas Mission is one of the Rio Grande Valley's bargain hubs. In 2025, median home prices hover in the low 200Ks, and you can still find listings under that mark. Rents often dip under $800, making it one of the few cities where your paycheck feels like it stretches. Don't let the palm trees fool you. This is South Texas heat and it does not mess around. Summers scorch into triple digits, humidity piles on, and your car dashboard becomes a science experiment. Evenings are calmer, backyard cookouts, family gatherings, and yes, hanging out in the HEB parking lot counts as a social event. What makes Mission stand out is its community. Neighbors wave, share fruit from their citrus trees, and somebody will definitely offer unsolicited carne asada advice while you grill. Affordability with a side of old school hospitality, that's Mission. Number 11, Bay City, Michigan. Bay City looks like a Norman Rockwell painting with sailboats. Zillow's 2025 numbers put the average home value at about $121K, with typical listings around $155K. That's practically clearance rack pricing compared to most of the country. Summers bring river walks, bridges worth an Instagram scroll, and festivals where you'll inevitably find deep-fried Oreos being sold out of a camper. Winters, they're a stand-up routine all on their own. One week you're shoveling snow in April, the next you're kayaking in May. Michigan weather plays by its own rules. Jobs lean blue-collar, factories, schools, hospitals, and antique hunters strike gold at downtown shops. Roads can feel like a choose-your-own-adventure game, but Bay City's charm is real. Affordable houses, water views, and small-town energy that keeps life grounded. Number 10, Flint, Michigan. Flint is the city that refuses to give up. The water crisis headlines were brutal, the jokes even worse, but beneath it all is a town that just won't quit. Today, the housing market is still unbelievable. The average home value is about $64,500, with some listings dipping into the 40Ks. Median listing prices hover closer to $70,000, while recent sales average around $80,000. In other words, whole houses here can cost less than the rims on the cars parked out front. If DIY is your superpower, Flint practically hands you the cape and says, "Good luck, hero." Walk a block and you'll see the mash-up freshly painted duplexes next to boarded up shells, massive murals stretched across walls, and coffee shops that clearly didn't get the memo that they weren't supposed to exist. But don't mistake this for a bargain free for all. Crime runs high, the roads test your suspension, and trust is something you earn, not inherit. Locals know the playbook: strong lights, solid locks, and neighbors who double as family. Number 9, Greenville, Mississippi. Greenville is what happens when real estate gets stuck in a time warp. Zillow puts the average home value around $56,000, while the median listing price is closer to $120,000. Sales are usually in that same ballpark, often under $125,000. Rent still slides under $700 in many cases, making it one of the cheapest housing markets in the country. On paper, it's a bargain hunter's dream. In practice, more like rolling dice in a casino. The economy leans heavily on farming and the local casino strip. Jobs aren't exactly booming, crime runs hotter than a cast iron skillet, and the roads. Let's just say your suspension will have trust issues, but the Delta gives Greenville something you can't buy: soul. This is the birthplace of the blues, and music doesn't just play here. It seeps out of doorways, backyard barbecues, and gas stations. Like the town itself can't stop humming. The mosquitoes, though, deserve their own zip. Code. They're so big and persistent they ought to come with license plates. But here's the trade: a small mortgage, sunsets over the river, and a culture that feels equal parts charming and ghost story. Cheap, sticky summers included. Number 8, Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Johnstown is what happens when the housing market forgets to update its prices. The median home value is about $99,700, with listings averaging closer to $80,000 and many sales dropping under $70,000. For the cost of one 1 year in a New York shoebox, you could own an entire house here and still have cash left over for pierogies. This town has seen more ups and downs than a daytime soap. Once a steel hub, Johnstown now wears its history like battle scars. Mills turned into museums, and brick factories that stand like monuments to another era. With fewer than 20,000 residents, it's the kind of place where not only does everyone know your name, they probably know your Wi-Fi password too. Life here isn't flashy. Think county fairs, fishing trips, and the occasional drive to Pittsburgh when you need to remember what a Target looks like. The trade-off? You get a mortgage that won't choke your budget. The catch? You'll wave at your neighbors so often your arm might need physical therapy. Number 7, Weirton, West Virginia. Weirton housing market feels straight up unrealistic. Zillow puts the average home value around $140,600, while listings are higher at $190,000. But you can still find steals under $120K if you dig. Rent in some spots drops below $600. That's not just cheaper than a Tesla, it's cheaper than some Teslas' optional upgrades. Think about telling your friends in LA that your mortgage costs less than their monthly valet bill. Priceless. The ace up Weirton sleeve? Location. Less than an hour from Pittsburgh, you can play both sides. One day you're kayaking on the Ohio River, the next you're downtown grabbing pierogies. It's small town America with a portal to the city right next door. The catch is the job market. Many residents commute because local opportunities are thin, but when your house costs less than a Brooklyn studio, the drive suddenly feels like a minor inconvenience. Call it the toll you pay for not being financially mugged every month. Weirton proves you don't need billionaire luck to live comfortably in America. Number 6, Statesboro, Georgia. Statesboro is where your budget finally takes a deep breath. The average home value is about $272,500, with median sales closer to $245,000 and listings around $325,000. That's still well below prices in Savannah, just an hour away, and housing here runs roughly 25% under the US average. Even healthcare feels discounted. Dental cleanings cost less than filling up a gas tank in Los Angeles. The town is a 2-for-1 deal. Georgia Southern University keeps things lively with symphonies, art exhibits, a planetarium, and Saturday football that borders on religion. Step outside campus and it's sweet tea, rocking chairs, and porches straight out of a country album cover. Retirees enjoy the tax breaks, families stretch their dollars, and students inject enough energy to keep the place from going sleepy. But not everything shines. Poverty rates hover, and some neighborhoods feel like they've been buffering since the early 2000s. Still, Statesboro balances it out. You're close to Savannah, without paying Savannah prices, and life runs on a budget that actually works. So, would you trade overpriced city chaos for a lifestyle that's half college soundtrack, half front porch sitcom? Number 5, Springfield, Illinois. Springfield has always been the quieter side of Illinois, and that hasn't changed. The capital doesn't chase skyscrapers or nightlife, it leans on history and affordability. As of mid-2025, the median home price sits around $175,500, with some listings pushing closer to $200,000 depending on the neighborhood. Rent hovers in the $700 range, which is still low enough to give your budget breathing room compared to bigger cities. History shapes daily life here. Lincoln's home, the presidential library, and the state fair give the city its flavor. Neighborhoods range from historic homes with character to starter houses that remain relatively inexpensive for a state capital. The cost of living makes Springfield a place where people can realistically buy instead of rent for life. The economy isn't booming, but it's steady. State government anchors much of the workforce, along with healthcare and education. Wages aren't flashy, but expenses stay low enough to make up the difference. Springfield may not be the city of fast growth, but it's a city where your mortgage stays manageable, and that's its real strength. Number 4, Meridian, Mississippi. Meridian has built its identity on resilience. Nearly burned down during the Civil War, the city has rebuilt itself more than once, and it's still going. In 2025, the median listing price is about $176,500, while the average home value is closer to $111,000. That makes it one of the most affordable housing markets in the South. The town is full of historic districts, with old homes, churches, and landmarks that give it a rooted charm. Jimmy Rogers, the father of country music, came from here, and music continues to be part of the city's fabric with festivals and live shows year-round. On the downside, the economy isn't strong, poverty rates are high, and job growth has been slow. Much of the employment is tied to retail, healthcare, and local government, but the cost of housing and utilities is so low that many families manage to live comfortably. For people who want historic character and inexpensive living, Meridian still delivers. Number 3, Richmond, Indiana. Richmond offers affordability that almost feels like an oversight. Home prices here run well below the US average, and the typical rent stays under $900. Even in 2025, this small Indiana city continues to be one of the cheapest housing markets in the region. Richmond also carries an overlooked history. In the early 20th century, it was a recording hub for jazz legends like Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington. Today, the city keeps that tradition alive with music festivals and a jazz walk of fame. It's a small city with a surprisingly deep cultural identity. Living here is practical, healthcare is affordable, daily costs are manageable, and it's possible to buy a home without being buried in debt. Richmond isn't glamorous, there are no luxury boutiques or skyscrapers, but it's stable. Families, retirees, and longtime locals value the slower pace and sense of community. For people who want low costs and a town with soul, Richmond is a safe bet. Number 2, Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City is big, but housing prices in some areas make it feel like two different cities. In 2025, homes east of Troost Avenue still dip under $50,000, while more desirable neighborhoods push far higher. That gap explains why some buyers see it as an opportunity while others see caution signs. The city has problems, crime rates are above average, and some properties labeled fixer-upper come with serious renovation needs. Roads and infrastructure need attention, and not every neighborhood is welcoming. At the same time, Kansas City has been pulling in young professionals, artists, and developers. Food co-ops, small businesses, and cultural projects are reshaping certain blocks. What you get here is contrast. Affordable homes exist, but they may come with heavy repair bills and safety considerations. Yet the city as a whole is alive with music, barbecue culture, and professional sports. For buyers willing to take a calculated risk, Kansas City can still deliver incredible deals in 2025. Finally, at number 1, Tupelo. Mississippi Tupelo remains one of the most affordable housing markets in the country, even with recent shifts. As of 2025, Zillow puts the average home value around $183,800, while Redfin reports a median sale price of $235,000. Listing prices are higher, around $299,900, but overall costs are still well below the national average. The city isn't just cheap, it's stable. Employers in healthcare, manufacturing, and banking keep the job market steady, and unemployment remains low. That means paychecks go further, especially since utilities and groceries are also cheaper than the US norm. Tupelo has more to offer than affordability. It's the birthplace of Elvis, but also home to a symphony, a zoo, a car museum, and outdoor escapes like the Natchez Trace Parkway. It's small, but it doesn't feel empty. Families often come here for a quieter life without giving up access to jobs and services. The draw of Tupelo in 2025 is balance. Homes are attainable, living costs are manageable, and quality of life comes without the financial pressure that weighs down bigger cities. 17 towns, some bargains, some battle scars, some with raccoons demanding back rent. The real question isn't the price, it's whether you'd actually live there. Drop your pick in the comments. And remember, cheap homes usually come with stories money can't buy.